Okay, so we're going to start today by doing some of these lesson 6 homework problems together to get you warmed up so that you remember what we're doing. Then we're going to break into some groups so that you guys can answer some of the problems.
What page is it?
33. And then we will come back and check, make some new groups, come back and check. Got it? Okay, before I share my screen with you, who can tell me what skill we've been practicing? What video did you watch yesterday? And what did you do for your must-do problems? Who remembers? Colin?
Multiplying multiples of 10.
Very good. And they talked about some new strategies. Who can tell me one strategy that you learned yesterday? Carter?
I was stretching.
Okay, well, good news. You're already unmuted. Tell us what strategy you learned yesterday. For multiplying multiples of 10. The video taught you a strategy that the words should be very familiar because we actually did this last week. What type of model did you use yesterday? Chase?
A chart looking like this.
Okay, so that's not called a chart, Chase. What's that called? Think back to what does it look like that we practice using some...
A grid?
Not a grid. When you made that chart, you put something, look at you, Chase, you labeled something going this way, this way. Those were the two numbers that you multiplied. What do you know? You also multiply this times this to find what?
The area.
Okay, so it's called an area model. So that's what they were using to show you. So we had a couple different visuals that we used yesterday. Try to get out of this screen. I'm going to share my page with you guys. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do, Maria, go ahead and start reading where it says represent.
Wait, I'm sorry. What's the page again?
33.
Okay, represent the following problem by drawing this in the place value chart.
Okay, so Maria, we're going to start by solving 30 times 60. And this tells us what should you be thinking about?
What's 3 tens times 6?
Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is draw what in my place value chart? We're focusing right here first. How do we draw, or where? Break it down to the most simple thing. Out of these two things, 3 tens or times 6, what should we start with in our place value chart?
6.
So where do you want me to put 6?
In the 1.
Okay, so in the video, do you remember doing this at all? Putting a 6 in the, putting any numbers in the ones place? No, you shouldn't. What should you, who knows what we should be starting with? We didn't write any numbers yesterday. No numbers in the place value chart. Cooper, do you remember what the first thing you should, if we have the equation 3 tens times 6, how do we use this chart? What do we draw first?
You draw 6 dots in ones place.
No, it doesn't say anything about ones here. It says 3 tens times 6.
Put the three dots in the tens place.
3 tens is where we start. So I have 1, 2, 3 tens. That's one group. Riley with an R. How do I show times 6?
You do 5 more groups of 3.
Very good. So that's right here is times 1, times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5, times 6. Ava, go ahead and unmute yourself for me. Ava, I'm going to count these. I'm going to touch each one, and I want you to count them by saying 1, 10, 2, 10, and so on, okay?
Okay.
Go ahead.
110, 210, 310, 410, 510, 610, 710, 810, 910, 1110.
Hold on. We need 10 tens.
Oh, 10 tens, 11 tens, 12 tens, 13 tens, 14 tens, 15 tens, 16 tens, 17 tens, 18 tens.
So we just solved 3 tens times 6 gives us 18 tens. So you can solve a problem as simple as that. But then we can't forget right here, it's not just 3 tens times 6. What do we have to do with our 3 tens times 6? Elijah?
Multiply it by 10.
Okay, so Elijah, I'm going to take everything in my tens place, and what am I going to do with it?
Multiply it by 10.
How do I multiply it by 10 using this chart?
By adding a 0 at the end?
Like this? No. We've been learning, and if you watch the video, it showed you what you do to represent multiplying by 10. Who remembers? Who watched the video carefully and can tell me how to multiply by 10? Chase?
You draw an arrow and slide it to the hundreds.
And what do I write on my arrow, Chase?
Times 10.
So I'm moving all of these tens over here. So Ava told me that was 3, 6, 9, 12, 18 tens. So I'm going to draw 18 tens in the hundreds place. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. So essentially, remember, these are gone. They're moved to the hundreds place. So Nevaeh, if I know I had 18 tens here and I moved them all over, what do I have here?
1800s.
And that's exactly what I'm writing on my line, 1800s. Ilea, do you know how to write 1800s using digits, the standard form?
1800.
Good. Where should my comma go?
But in between the 1 and the 8.
Good. So here we have our word form or unit form. And then when you move down to this second line, it takes your 3 tens and puts it into the number 30 and then moves down the 6 and the 10. Yesterday in the video, I mentioned a property that multiplication possesses. So if you look here, in this line, we multiplied 3 tens times 6 first. This second line is the exact same problem as this line, but instead we should multiply 6 times 10 first. Who remembers what property multiplication and addition have that means no matter what order you do them in, you still get the same answer? We talked about this think back to when you were in nicely. What property do they have? I'm looking through, I don't see any hands. If you know, you can unmute yourself and tell me. Hayden Garland, turn your camera on. Anyone remember? It rhymes with commutative. Cooper?
I forget what I was going to say.
Anyone? It rhymes with commutative. Chase?
Commutative.
Do you know what it means? If you have the commutative property, what does that mean?
I don't know.
Okay, let me give you a hint. Chase, look. You can multiply 30 times 6 and then multiply it by 10 and get 1,800. Or I can multiply 6 times 10, then multiply that by 30 and still get 1,800. So the commutative property means what? It doesn't matter.
What place it's in?
Not really the place. It's turnaround rules. 5 times 4 equals 9. 4 times 5 equals 9, Peyton. What doesn't matter?
Where you have it.
It doesn't matter the order that you put the numbers in. You're going to get the same answer. Okay, so let's use our taking off our 0 shortcut and see if this matches our first two. I have 30 times 60. I'm going to take off 2 zeros, put them in my answer, and then I'm left with 3 times 6. Caliana, do you know what 3 times 6 is? You're not sure. Add 6 plus 6 plus 6, 3 times. Unmute yourself and tell me. 3 times 6. Come on. We should be working on our facts every day. Unmute yourself.
18.
That's not Caliana. Caliana, unmute yourself.
18.
What's 6 plus 6?
9.
No. 6, and then count up 6 more. Use your fingers to help you.
Yes, 11.
Nope. I'm going to hold 6 fingers up. You count for me. What comes after 6?
You ask my science book?
What comes after 6?
7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12.
So 6 plus 6 equals what?
12.
Okay, let's count 6 more. What comes after 12?
13. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18.
Okay, so 6 times 3 equals? Caliana, what's 3 times 6?
18.
All right. Okay, so there you go, guys. That's why we need to practice our facts, because if you spend all the time for these simple basic facts, you're going to end up getting lost in the problem, because this is as easy as our multiplication is going to be. So no matter if we use uniform, switch around the order of the numbers, or straight up multiply 3 times 60, our answer each time was 1,800. Okay, we're going to do now, so that uses the place value chart. Now we're going to draw an area model to represent 30 times 60. Sophia, what do we do when we're finding area? What's the formula?
Length times width.
Good, length times width. So we know we're going to be multiplying the length times the width. So I'm going to start by drawing a rectangle. Draw a rectangle. Brian, go ahead and unmute yourself. You're going to help me label this rectangle. Okay, Brian, I need to show what equation here. Oh, you have no volume, honey. Hayden, what equation do I need to show? Go ahead, Hayden. Hayden, read number 2. Hayden, read number 2. You have no volume coming from you either. Gracie, let's try you. Do you know what equation we're going to represent using this rectangle?
3 times 6.
No, not 3 times 6. Look at the problem.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I did the video yesterday. Yes. I did the video yesterday, so she said it counted. 30 times 6.
No, Gracie, read number 2.
Draw an area model to represent 30 times 60.
Okay, so what's our equation? Not 3 times 6.
30 times 60.
Okay, so Carissa, how would I draw or how would I divide my rectangle to show 30 times 60? Carissa, do you know? Okay, so how would I show the number 30? What would I do? How many pieces do I have to break this rectangle into?
6.
To show the number 30?
3.
Okay, so I'm going to break this rectangle into 3 rows, and I'm going to label each of them 10, 10, and 10. So Carissa, what's 10 plus 10 plus 10?
30.
30. Very good. Okay, Seth, now how many pieces am I going to break this, we'll call this the length into?
6.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each of them should be labeled with what number, Seth?
100.
No, we're going to show the number 60. So 10. Good. So I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So if I add them all up, they'll equal 60 total.
6 times 10.
Okay, so now, Hunter, what do I do next to solve? What's my next step?
Put a 100 in every one of the squares.
Why?
I mean, 10 in every one of the squares.
Well, tell me how you're getting this number. First you said 100, now you say 10. How do you know what goes in a square? It's just like a the questions that I'm asking you guys, the fact that we don't have answers, the first thing that makes me wonder is, did you watch the video yesterday? I watched it 3 times myself. One when I was recording it, the second one whenever I was getting ready to teach it, and then I watched it again whenever I found that you guys had a half a day yesterday and I had to make the video on my own. And I've done this before. So if you're not watching the videos, you're not going to understand why we're doing the things that we're doing. The video is the teaching. I would hate to, I'm going to have to start to bring you guys on here and make you watch it with me. And then the Zooms are going to be even longer. What I'm trying to do is to get the teaching into your brain. Then work with me on the work. So then if you have questions, I can help you. But if you don't watch the videos, you're not making any progress here because you're not going to understand why we're doing it. So you have to think of this chart like a multiplication division diagram. So Hunter, if I take 10 from down here and 100 from over here, what am I doing with these two numbers in a multiplication chart?
Multiplying them.
What is 10 times 10?
100.
So we should have 100 in each one of these boxes. Soren, are you writing anything down? Soren, are you writing anything
I
down?
already checked it. I already checked the pages.
Okay, show me that you did. Show me your number 2. I want to see that it looks like mine. Okay, Hunter. So now we want to solve this. 3 tens times 6 tens equals what?
Count up all the hundreds and then you'll have your answer.
Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So Hunter, I have 18 what?
1800s.
There you go, 1800s. And that's shown on your chart. So you have the proof right there. Is there anyone that's confused, or do you have any questions about this? Now, I know what you're saying. You're probably saying it's so much easier if you just take off the zeros and multiply that way. I understand, guys. I'm on board with you. But who can tell me why we're drawing these pictures? Nolan? Go ahead, Nolan. We have no volume, honey.
It could be easier for people.
Okay, well, hopefully the visual, I want to say makes it easier, but it's easier to help you understand what you're actually doing when you're multiplying. Chase?
It shows your work.
Right, it shows you what you're actually doing when you're multiplying 30 times 60. Instead of having to draw, we know that multiplication is repeated addition. So to show it, you could write 60, but you'd have to write it 30 times. This way, you're doing part of it and then just repeating it. Sunny, stop muting and unmuting yourself. Pick one and stick with it. If you're going to respond, leave it off. If you're not, leave it on. So then you actually have a visual of 18 of those boxes. Okay, Olivia, go ahead and read number 3.
Draw an area of model to represent 20 times 20.
Okay, so Olivia, what should I start with for my drawing?
First, we should start with the rectangle.
Okay, here's my rectangle. What's my next step? Kellyanne, are you writing this down?
Then draw lines to make it like.
Okay, I'll start with lines going vertically. How many lines should I draw?
1.
And what should I label both of these? What's the value of each of them?
10.
10 and 10. Olivia, what is 10 plus 10?
20.
Very good. Okay, Briley with a B. How many horizontal lines do I draw to represent 20? So I drew one going vertically and I have 10 and 10. How many lines do I draw going horizontally? Unmute yourself, come on. So if I draw 10 lines going this way, Briley, will that represent the number 20? Look at what I have 10 plus 10 equals 20. What number do I want to have total on my width?
20.
20. So how could I need to replicate what I just did. Stop muting yourself because you're going to be talking for a while and it takes you a long time to unmute yourself. How can I get 20 by using multiples of 10 along this side? how many 10s do I need to get the number 20?
2,
Okay, so if I have 10 here and 10 here, how many lines do I need to draw?
2,
No. Let me put it, how many 10s do I have here?
20,
I have 2 10s. How can I divide these in half by drawing how many lines? 2 lines would give me 3 spots. I don't have 3 10s. I only have 2. So if 2 lines is too many, Briley, how many lines should I draw?
1,
1, because I need to split them in half. So, Briley, what's 10 plus 10?
20.
All right, thank you. So now, Noah, you're going to unmute yourself next. I have 20, Noah, unmute yourself, times 20 in this model. Now, Noah, what am I going to do next? How am I going to get numbers in these boxes?
Adding them.
Not adding. Remember when we use a chart, if I bring this 10 down and this 10 across, I'm not going to add them. What am I going to do?
Subtract them.
No. What operation are we practicing here? What operation is this?
Times.
Multiplication. So, Noah, what's 10 times 10?
100.
So I'm going to put 100 in each of these boxes. Now, Noah, I want you to count my hundreds for me. Go.
100.
100.
200. 300. 400.
So, Noah, 2 10s times 2 10s gave me what? 4
100.
hundreds. You're going to write that out. It gave me 4 hundreds. Soren, are you ready to show me? I want, hold your book up. I want to see what you've done. Hold it up nice and close so I can see. Page 33. Page 33. Elijah, while I'm waiting for him, can you tell me what to do to make 20 times 20 easier for us?
Add or multiply 2 times 2.
Well,
And
we don't have 2 times 2. We have 20 times 20. Maria, you following along? Turn around. Let's look at the screen.
put the zeros in your answer.
I
And then
I have to take them
multiply-
off first, then put them in my answer. Now I'm left with what basic fact?
2 times 2, which equals 4.
So 20 times 20 gives me?
400.
Very good. Okay. Number 4, we're going to get into some groups because I can tell I'm losing a lot of you. So in your group, you're going to draw an area to represent 40 times 60. So if you flip back to page 33, your model should look like one of these, but with different numbers. So before we start, I want you to draw a rectangle, an open rectangle. This is what you shove on your paper. Just a rectangle. When you get with your groups, you're going to partition or divide the rectangle to show 40 times 60. Any questions before I put you in your group?
Is that the only thing we're going to be doing?
No, I want you to, you're going to put 40 times 60 in your model, and then you're going to solve 4 10s times 6 10s, and then 40 times 60. So you're going to do all of number 4 with your group.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let me get your breakout rooms. We're going to go into about 3 to 4 people per group. Go ahead and click join. Carter, where are you? Gracie, where are you? Gracie, Carter. Gracie, Carter.
Gracie's in the bathroom.
Okay, can you let her know she has a group to join when she comes back?
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
I think we draw 5 lines to make 5 of the up and down lines.
Wait, back here.
Don't forget, guys, if someone has like a good drawing, you can always hold it up. Can you see each other's screens or no? Can I only see you guys?
We can see each other's.
Okay, so Finn, if you think you know how to draw it, why don't you, you did a great job. Explain what you did and then just hold your paper up so that they see it.
Okay.
I know sometimes it's hard to explain when you can't share your screen.
Hundreds, yeah. Okay, so we do 100, 100. And then make sure you group those all together too.
Don't forget, guys, if you want to, you're able to hold up your books up to the camera so that the other people in your group can see your picture.
So like that. Almost,
Yeah,
but like
just
fill in the whole
look,
thing.
look. Good job, guys. Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now
Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is find out the amount of lines that are going sideways. So like I said earlier, the method to finding them is use one less line than there is.
Is 10 times 10. What is one little rectangle worth, Seth?
And then 4 tens times 6 tens is you cross out both of the zeros. And then Callie, what do you do with both of the zeros?
Well, if you guys are on 4 tens times 6 tens, to solve this one, you should be able to look at how many boxes you have. And I'm guessing you probably have a lot of hundreds. Count your hundreds, because this is where you want unit form. So you don't have any, unless you're on the 40 times 60, and 4 tens times 6 tens, you don't have any zeros to actually take off. You want to use your unit form. So count off all of your hundreds there.
$2,400.
Well, it wouldn't be a number like that, Chase. It would be like 100, 200. So I believe that would probably be, did you count 24 squares total?
Hold up.
What do you have in each of your squares? What number?
100.
Okay, so you should be counting like 100, 200, and then even go like 10 hundreds, 11 hundreds. So this would be like if you had a flat, all these.
Oh, okay.
So how many hundreds do you have total?
Hold on, I'm counting.
Okay. Soren, let me see your picture. Hold it up to the screen, please.
2,400.
Very good. So that's what you want to write on the line. Soren, hold your book up to the screen. I want to see what you drew.
I'm
Number 4.
like I have like like almost an identical version of theirs.
Okay, I want to see it though, because I asked you 3 times to see your book and you keep ignoring me, and I don't want to hold everyone up because I'm waiting for you. Hold up your math book so that I can see that you're following along with us.
Huh?
Hold it up to the camera like this so I can zoom in and look at it. Soren, hold your book up to the camera. I'm starting to become irritated. Okay, do I need to call Mr. Thomas and have him call your parents and tell them you're not cooperating?
I am trying to.
No, you're ignoring me and it's very rude, and all I'm doing is trying to help you. And if you're going to come to the Zooms and just lay around and not follow along, you're not getting anything out of it. Okay, that's what I'm doing right now. Goodbye. Chase, you and Caliana can continue on.
Okay. So, Callie, where are you at on your paper? At the last problem. So you're at 40 times 60 in standard form. Okay. So, are you done solving it? All right. So what did you get for your answer? Your volume isn't working. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Miss Shevchik,
Yes.
I was in my breakout room, but no one would talk.
Who was in your group, honey?
Hayden and Noah.
Did they just stay on mute the whole time?
Yeah,
Hayden Garland?
even in the room.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Kelly.
Yes.
It's Eli here. Hey, I helped this group out. I hope you didn't mind.
Oh no, I can't add you to our payroll, Eli, but I appreciate any extra help we can get.
Hey, it's free of charge. I got to help these kids out,
Thanks. The other day was the first time I had to go and actually have some gray hairs covered up. I thought they were blonde, and she told me, nope, you got your first couple. So that's what I got this year for Christmas.
I got some in my little beard.
Thank you.
You're welcome, dear.
Hey, Shevchik?
Yes.
I just wanted to say I got my hair cut.
Oh, did you? It's hard to see in the ponytail.
Yeah, but I also got it dyed.
Nice. Noah, Sarah, were their cameras off the whole time too? Is that why you couldn't talk with them? Noah, why weren't you working with your group on the problem that you're supposed to be doing? Hayden. Noah and Hayden, unmute yourselves, please.
I was working myself.
Well, but what were the directions? If I wanted you to work by yourself, then why would I put you in a group? Like it's not fair to the people that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Like you're supposed to be working together to help each other. Hayden, what's your problem? Why aren't you doing what I'm asking you to do?
I was doing the same thing.
What were the directions?
To do it with the tape.
Do it with the group. So it's hard when you're on the computer to really to do anything really that interactive and fun, like if we were in school. But putting you into a group gives you a chance to not have to sit and see 60 other faces on the screen and actually work with one or two other people. So you have to please do what I ask, or else it's not going to help it. You're not going to get anything out of it.
My mom's allergic.
What do you need, Julian Dixon? Do you have a question?
Yes.
What is it?
My dad went to the hospital.
Wait, is this hold on? Is this a question? Do you have a question for me?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your question? Remember, we're focused on math right now. If you want to tell me something else, we can do that afterwards. What's your math question?
I forget.
Okay. Okay, Tessa, tell me how your group broke up these rectangles. This
All right, so we did 4 lines across.
Vertical or horizontal lines?
Oh, horizontal.
Okay. So like that 4 sections, or did you actually draw 4 lines?
Oh, and then we did 6.
Hold on, listen. Did you draw 4 lines? Because I only drew 3. Or did you mean 4 sections?
4 sections.
Okay. And before you tell me how you drew the other direction, what should each of these be labeled?
10.
And then if I have my total here, what's 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10?
40.
Okay, so you represent 40 that way. And what did you do drawing your vertical lines?
We drew we did
It might be
5.
easier to, okay, so 5 lines. So you had 6 equal sections?
Yeah.
Okay. I heard someone, I forget what group it was in, gave a great tip. I think it was Peyton. He said you actually draw 1 line less than the number. So if since it was, you need 6 equals pieces, you draw 5 lines because that gives you 6 sections. And Tessa, what did you label each of these?
Then we did 10 at the top, and that was 60.
Good. Okay, raise your hand if you would like to tell me what your group did next. Nolan.
Our group filled in the boxes with 100s.
In every single one?
Yes,
How did you get the number 100, Nolan?
because 10 times 10 is 100.
Great job. Okay, so after you get 100 in every single one of these boxes, who can tell me what you did next? Tanya.
Counted the hundreds up.
Okay, so if I count, Tanya, 100, 200, 300, and so on, 4 10s times 6 10s gave me how many hundreds?
24 hundreds.
Good girl. You should have 24 squares there. Nice job. Orlando, can you tell me how to solve 40 times 60, please?
You cross out the zeros and put them in your answer. 6 times 4 equals 24.
So 40 times 60 equals what?
2,400.
Very good. Nice job. Okay, Jack, you ready to work today? All right, go ahead and unmute yourself. Read these directions, please.
Rewrite each question in unit form and solve.
This actually says equation. That's a fancy math word, equation. Okay, Jack, so you're going to help me with 50 times 20. So, Jack, we're going to first solve the way that, my favorite way. Take off those zeros. So tell me how to solve 50 times 20.
Take off the zeros in the question
Mm-hmm.
and then put them in your answer.
Okay.
And then do 5 times 2, which is 10.
Okay, so 50 times 20 gives you what answer?
1,000.
Okay, but we have to put this in unit form. So look here. We have 5 tens times 2 tens. So they give you this space here for if you want to use the area model. So if I draw, here's my 2 tens, and here's my 5 tens. I know 10 times 10 gives me 100. That goes in every single box. Because if you look here, you can't put your answer in thousands. I cannot write 1,000 here. They want to know how many hundreds are equal to 1,000. So Jack, I drew my area model here. How many hundreds do I have?
10.
These equations are the same. They're just worded differently. This is standard form, and this is broken up into unit form. Some of you might know already that 1,000 is 10 hundreds. If you're very strong place value knowledge, you might know that. That's actually even kind of hard for me when I think about it, because I know a lot of you want to actually write 1 and then the word 1,000, but it's asking for the number in hundreds. Okay, so we did one together. Let's try number 6 in a group. So you're going to solve this problem, and then you're going to fill in the missing blanks here. So you want to figure out 30 is the same as 3 tens. 50 is the same as 5 what? Then when you get this answer here, you want to figure out how many hundreds is the same. Any questions before I put you into groups? Okay, I've been trying to bounce into as many groups as I can. So when I'm coming in, I'm really just looking and checking to make sure that you guys are all working together. And I believe I shook up these groups, so you should have a new group.
Hey, Mrs.
Yes, ma'am. Join your group, Finn. Gracie and Carter, what happened again? Carter. Carter, where are you?
Basically.
So what we're going to do is cross out the zeros and put them in the answer.
Exactly. And then do 3 times.
And then you're only left with 3 times 5.
Which is 15.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
don't forget the comma between the 1 and the 5.
Mm-hmm. So it's 1,500.
Mm-hmm. Whoever wants to go next can go next.
We should probably do the area model.
Mm-hmm. But we have to also do this next one. But we can do the model.
8 times 70.
$560.
I think so. Your turn to give a math fact.
Okay.
Get all finished?
Mm-hmm.
How many?
Yeah.
Okay, so you had 3 tens times 5 what?
5 tens.
Equals how many hundreds?
15.
1,500.
Good job. Thank you for going to the math facts since you worked fast. How you guys doing?
We just got done.
All finished?
Yes.
Okay. 1 minute of math facts, then come back to the main group, okay?
Okay.
5 times 6, Nolan.
30.
7 times 4, Hunter.
28.
Julian. 10 times 4.
40.
Nolan. 6 times 6.
36.
Hunter. 7 times 7.
49.
Julian. 8 times 8.
60.
No, help him out, Nolan. 8 times 8.
4.
Hunter. 9 times 9.
81.
Julian. 3 times 7.
21.
Nolan. 2 times 4.
80.
Hunter. 5 times 8.
40.
Here? Hello? No, there's 38.
Huh?
Okay, Sunny, go ahead and tell me what your group did for number 6.
First, we took off the zeros of 30 times 50 and put them in our answer.
Nice job.
And then we did 3 times 5 equals 15. So it would be 1,500.
Very good. So then how many 3 tens times, how do you break up 50? 50 is 5 what?
Tens.
And then 1,500 is how many hundreds?
1,500.
How did you know that? What did you guys do to solve?
I knew that because when I did 3 times 5, it equals 15.
Right, so sometimes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So it would be 1,500.
Right, so sometimes this is actually read as 1,500s. So you might not have needed an area model here, but Sunny, what's another way that this number can be read that means the same thing?
1,500.
But these are equal, same thing. Okay, any questions about number 6 before we move on? Okay, number, who haven't I heard from today? Let's have Carson, number 7. Go ahead and read number 7 for us.
Six, 60 times 20.
How many zeros can I take off here, Carson?
2.
I'm going to put them right in my answer. I'm left with the basic fact, 6 times 2 equals?
12.
What is 60 times 20, Carson?
1,200.
Okay, now, Carson, how many tens is the number 60?
6.
How many tens is the number 20?
2.
So we have 6 tens times 2 tens equals 12 what?
Tens.
No. How many zeros do you have here?
2.
2. Here's my number 12. If it was 12 tens, I would only have 1 0. What place value is represented with 2? zeros?
1200.
There you go, 1200s. Okay, Maria, you ready for number 8?
Yeah.
Okay, 40 times 70. How many zeros do I take off?
2.
Put them right in my answer. What is 4 times 7? If you're not Maria, please mute yourself because all we can hear is all the noise in your background. 4 times 7, honey.
24.
No, that's 6 times 4.
Oh, 28.
Good. Okay, so we have 40 times 70 equals 2,800 or 2,800. Now, Maria, we need to write this in unit form. So the number 40 is what place value? Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands? The number 40, what place value is that in?
Oh, that's in the tens.
How many tens?
4 tens.
Okay, so in unit form, the number 40 is 4 tens. In unit form, Maria, what is the number 70?
7 tens.
Yep. So, do you know how many hundreds the number 2,800 represents?
28.
28.
Good. 2,800s.
I said it first.
Okay. Any questions with the unit form? Reese, you ready for the next one? All right, honey. Go ahead and flip the page and you're going to read number 9.
Okay. There are 60 seconds in 1 minute and 60 minutes in an hour. How many seconds are in 1 hour?
So we need to figure out how many seconds there are in 1 hour. Do you have any idea what we would do?
All right, sweetheart. I would really like for you to practice those books and then books about.
I mean, I guess no.
Well, let's start with this, Reese. What do you know? We know that 60 seconds equals what?
1 minute.
1 minute. But that doesn't help us get to an hour yet. We also know that how many minutes are in an hour?
60.
So what do you think we could do to figure out how many? So we're not going from seconds to minutes. We need to go from seconds to hours. So how could we figure out how many seconds are in 1 hour?
60 times 6.
Okay, so this 60 seconds would tell me how many seconds there were in 6 minutes. We want to know how many seconds there are in how many total minutes, not 6. How many minutes equal an hour?
60.
So what we're doing here is we're taking our 60 seconds and we're multiplying it by 60 minutes because, Reese, we know that 60 minutes equals what?
1 hour.
And we want to go from seconds to hours. Okay, so Reese, how can I solve 60 seconds times 60 minutes?
So first
Soren,
take off.
that's not focusing. Go ahead, honey.
First take off the 2 zeros and put them in your answer. And then 6 times 6 is 36.
Okay.
So 3,600 seconds.
Very good. So if your parents tell you that you need to wait 1 hour before being able to go outside, if you sat down and counted to 3,600, that should take you 1 full hour. Colin.
Or you could just tell them that you know how many seconds that is, and maybe they'll let you go outside.
Maybe. And you know, one way that you might be able to go quicker is, you know, Colin, generally, do you know how you're supposed to count if you're actually counting real seconds? You
No,
know,
not really.
people, they usually tell you to count like 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000.
1 Mississippi, 2
Yeah.
Mississippi.
You have that little pause. Maybe if you say, if I count to 3,600, can I go? And you might be able to get away with it by going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because that's actually not a whole second because you're moving so fast. Okay, who haven't I heard from today that wants to read number 10 and help me with it? I'm looking for a hand.
1.
Riley with an R. I saw you first. Riley with an R. Go ahead, honey. Read number 10 about the comic books.
To print a comic book, 50 pieces of paper are needed. How many pieces of paper are needed to print 40 comic books?
Okay, so we know that to print a comic book, how many pages do we need for one book, Riley?
50 pieces.
Okay, we need to figure out how many pieces of paper are needed for 40 books. So if we know that one book equals 50 pages, Riley, how can we figure out how many pages are in 40 books?
You could do 50 times 40.
Go ahead and do that for us.
So you cross off your 2 zeros and put them in your answer. And then you do 5 times 4, which is 20. And then you label it pages.
So Riley, how many pages do you need to print 40 comic books?
2,000 pages.
Very good. 2,000 pages. Okay. Okay, do you have any questions? That was your lesson 6 homework. That's what you should be doing to practice. Now, I do see some of you already completed your exit ticket, so hopefully you came to class just to make sure you were on the right path. Remember, if you haven't done the homework yet, you shouldn't be doing the exit ticket yet, because that should be the last thing that you do for the lesson. So if you haven't done the exit ticket yet today, that's what you should do after class. Get it all finished, and you'll be done for the weekend. Remember, there's also science assignments due today. So there's a video for you to watch. There's something for you to look at and respond to. There's pages in your science, your actual book to do. A lot of people are saying to me, my things won't save on the science pages. Well, you're not supposed to be entering them online. The online book is there so that you can listen if you want it to be read to you. Then those questions are the same that are on the side. You should be interacting, because remember, I'm collecting your science books once we get back. And the last thing for science is the lesson 2 quiz. That's also online, where you read. Remember, we should always be getting 100% because the books are right in front of you guys, and the lessons are only 5-6 pages long. So if you're not sure of something, go back and find it. You're allowed to use your books to help you. Okay, do you have any questions about today's math class, anything you did yesterday, what you need to do over the weekend? Okay, the last thing that I'm going to tell you guys about before I let you go. These aren't published yet, but they will be soon. I'm putting a message out to your families after class today to tell them that Monday there's a weird schedule. Okay, so if you look at Monday's folder, what's the first thing you see, Caliana? What time is math on Monday?
12 o'clock.
High noon. Math is at high noon on Monday. So on Monday, you're going to bring the papers that you did your review on Wednesday. Let me see if any of these people are here. Orlando, you still have to do the review. I haven't gotten that yet from you. That's from Wednesday of this week. Caliana, you have a 0 for the review. You haven't done it yet. That's everyone that's here. Some of you that got 0, 1, or 2 out of 9, and I asked your parents, please send me their scratch paper. Your parents said they did it in their head. That's impossible.
It
That's
is.
impossible.
I vouch for that because I did it and I still needed scratch paper, Mrs. Chev.
And I had Craig and Anna do it last weekend just to see what they thought of it. They both used paper. And Craig got one wrong because he wasn't reading carefully. The tire problem is confusing. I understand that. And a lot of you saw, there's one that I went back and the expanded form that they had in there is not correct. So a lot of you for part B, I told you it was wrong, but go back and check. I give you guys everything that I know you deserve. So that's fixed on there. You have those points. You're not going to, those questions are PSSA questions. That's why they're extra wordy and they're confusing and they're a little intimidating. That's why we're practicing breaking them down. But you're not going to get anything out of Monday if you don't have your papers, because you're not going to remember what you did on Wednesday come Monday. So if you got them wrong, it's okay. As long as you tried on the paper and then you come to class or you watch the video on Monday and you see where you went wrong. That was your first real experience with a true PSSA practice problem. So that's what we're doing on Monday. You're also going to see, let me go back, on Monday, there are 2 quizzes for you to complete. Topic A, topic B. Those are both things that we've done in the past 2 weeks. Also, on your quizzes, you're going to need to solve them first, then just submit your answers online. The only reason we're doing them online is because I know that's easier for a lot of you and your families to submit it rather than worrying about scanning the pictures every
I have
single
a question.
time. Yes.
Why does it say unpublished on what work we have to do on Monday?
Because I didn't publish it yet.
Okay.
I will, but I usually don't put it up there till we finish a week so you don't get confused. Sunny, question.
On the PSSAs, are we allowed to use scrap paper?
Yes. Any other questions?
No.
I don't see any hands, but if you have a question, please unmute yourself.